I'm with Emeka Onugha, entrepreneur, artist, and just tell me what you just told me, because I love that. You know, this is an artist that understands he doesn't define himself. Yes. So just finish that, because that's so powerful, because artists don't understand that that's where it's at.
Well, you were asking me what area of my life would you like to go into, I guess, with the purpose of getting to know me a bit better.
Right.
And you were asking the lawyer, entrepreneurship, or how do I define myself? And what I was saying is that I don't define myself, because that has in the past been a prison for me, my own prison. My intentions were good in an effort to hurry up and get to that stage in my life where I found my thing, you know, that thing that I'm going to shine in, or that area of expertise, or that place that I'm going to make my mark. And in doing so, I stressed myself out, because I felt that there'd be this type of eureka moment when I came across that thing.
Ooh.
I felt that it would sound powerful before I engaged in it. And it would cause me a lot of stress searching for that particular thing. And when I abandoned that mentality and decided that I would live more in the moment and live more of an undefined life, I found that interest evolved all on their own.
That's straight so on point, Emeka, because what I've been trying to convey, and the artists have been conveying, is that when we try to take this title or this one hat, I do sculpture or I do paint, it's too broad for these spiritual aspects within us.
Absolutely.
And like you said, you're right on point. We have to live in that moment.
Absolutely. Where
is spirit directing you? Where's your expertise? Where's your experiences?
Like, it's funny. I joke with some friends of mine, because in the process of this particular store, I've engaged in furniture making and shelf making and counter making and stuff like that. So I've been walking around with my tape measure all the time. You can't tell me nothing when I got my trusty tape measure with me. So my folks been cracking on me, and I say, you know, I'm a carpenter. And they're like, yo, you're not no carpenter, man. All you did was put a couple of tables together. What does that make you a carpenter? And in my mind, in the moment, I'm a carpenter. I may drop this and never do it again. But for a month, I was a carpenter. And that's enough for me. I don't feel that I have to engage in some extensive course, or I have to have done it for several years to own it.
Right.
So I'm a carpenter in the moment. Maybe next week I'll be, who knows?
That's why I always love your energy, because you're so tapped in. We live in a culture that tells us we have to learn certain things this way and that way, and then you're accredited, or you're considered, okay, now you can go out in the world and do this.
Yes.
The second point that I want to make is, when you talk about carpentry, and I was talking about this earlier, the way I see the direction that the artisan is going, they're going back to the indigenous community. They're going back to the place where we're self-sustaining.
Yes.
And the carpenter is at the base of that.
Big time.
I mean,
big time.
You can't do nothing else.
And what is the definition? I mean, for me, a carpenter is a man, woman, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
That works with wood.
I like you said that. I like how you said that.
That works.
I like how you said that.
Wood. When it's all said and done, if you're working with wood, if you're putting things together, you're a carpenter. Now there's a large spectrum.
Of
right?
course.
There are some people who are master carpenters, some people who specialize in intricate carvings, while others may specialize in building foundation for houses. But either way, if my son picked up a sander and was sanding wood with me, he's a young carpenter. That was the caption that I wrote underneath his Instagram post.
I love it. See, I can't mess with you, man. I can't mess with you. See, he cancels me out. Because this is what I'm talking about. It's like, I don't have to say what I'm trying to convey, because he's saying, like underline, let me underline this, let me underline this. It's point on
I got to repair that.
What we're trying to convey in terms of, so it's okay for you to be in a particular area as an artist, but understand how that connects to the world and also connects your world. Indeed. Because there's no place really in this culture for us really to fit, but not for the artists. If they realize the propensity or the power that they have from within.
Yes.
And if they're willing, you said this earlier, you were like, I'm just letting it go now. I'm just letting it go, G.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
letting it go.
Yes,
Y'all
sir.
got to let it go.
Yes, sir.
You can't
Yes,
just
sir.
be locked in a box. And that's what you said when you started. We
Yes, sir.
cannot be locked in a box. We can't say, oh, I could just do this. Oh, it's never been done this before. What is speaking in your heart? What is speaking to your
At
intuition?
the moment.
Yes.
In the moment.
Yes.
In the moment.
Yes.
Because that will change.
Right.
And to define yourself in one particular thing, whether your intentions are good or not, you limit yourself the opportunity to evolve. So it's funny because before I started law school, I felt a lot more open in terms of the different things that I can do. Once I completed that graduate course and got that title, I didn't feel as open as I did before. Now I have a law degree. Now I'm considered a lawyer. Now I should practice law. And that should became overwhelming. And it became a major competitive force for all the other creative things that I wanted to get into. And it made me begin to feel that I was being somewhat of an irresponsible individual by pursuing my creative endeavors instead of my professional endeavors. Especially because the profession that I chose is one that in society can garner some degree of status just for being so respected, for being so, especially for the culture that I come from, which is the Igbo culture. We hail from Nigeria, and education is paramount to our existence. So the idea of having a law degree and pursuing to do something in a completely different direction was almost unheard of. So for me, coming out of law school, one would think that I had more options, but I began to set less options for myself because I was now a professional. It wasn't until I came to peace with the notion that my creative energy, to me, is more valuable than any degree that can be bestowed upon me by any individual.
I'm going to go home and watch this interview myself.
Gee, get out of here.
He's fire. I'm telling you. Yo, I ain't messing with you. What is art? Let me try to confuse him. What is art to you? What is art?
Life.
Oh.
Art is the life that we're living, man. It's funny. I had another conversation with a friend of mine who was criticizing some artwork that another friend of mine did that I happened to enjoy. And they were saying, according to whatever definition that they said, this is not art. And I found that to be offensive. And I wasn't the artist that created a piece. But my thing is, what gives another individual the power to define what's art? Art is something that is ever evolving. We have artists that are appreciated more in their death than they were in their life. Now their pieces can fetch X amount of millions of dollars when they were alive, these people couldn't sell it to anyone. So I find it kind of awkward for someone in any state to say that they're in a position to define what art is and what art isn't. To me, art is expression. Art is something in many ways that is intangible. It's an intrinsic something that we all have, and all of ours is a little different. Sometimes when we express ourselves, people appreciate it. Sometimes when we express our art, people are offended by it. But either way, it's something that the person who delivers it is compelled to express. And it's art because they say so, not because you say so. You know what I'm saying? So if you decide you want to write on this piece of paper, set it on fire, and put it in a glass, and you call that art, who am I to say it's not? Who am I to say it's not? I may appreciate it. I may not appreciate it. I may think that it has value to me, and I may not. But it is up to you to define whether it's art, not me. It's just up to me to decide whether I appreciate it or not. But it's not left up to me to define that.
Is there anything that you can share with the artists that would help them in terms of what you see in your surroundings, in terms of how people conduct themselves?
Fear.
Oh.
Some of the most talented people in the world are scared to death. Scared to death. For a lot of reasons, man. People are afraid. And what I think is the biggest fear is fear of failure. And thinking that failure defines you. Anyone who looks at their life in search of this defining title or this defining moment, many of them are afraid that failure will be that defining moment. And if it is that defining moment, how do they ever escape it? So they'll be known as the artist who couldn't sell a painting, or they'll be known as the tailor who couldn't sell a pair of pants, or they'll be known as the swimmer who couldn't make it across the English Channel. To me, if you remove the idea of defining yourself, then failure has a lot less meaning. So if I attempt something and I'm apparently unsuccessful at that particular venture, if I don't allow my failures or my so-called successes to define me, then that moment will have no meaning in the spectrum of what I'm going for. Whereas if I'm looking to be known as this particular thing, I'm going to constantly be fearful of being known for the wrong thing.
See, he went philosophical.
Yo, Gary, shout out.
I'm just cutting it off. Let him start his own YouTube channel.
Without fear is paralyzing.
But you're killing it.
It's
you right on. You right on. And it's the culture that pours it into us.
Big time. Big time.
Because they make us feel like you have to be dressed a certain way and you have
Absolutely.
to be here and you have to have a certain education and then this has happened. So you have these guilt things going on.
Big time.
And in the meantime, you total disregard this spiritual stuff that wants to burst out of you.
Everything that's in you. And it's so amazing because we're not born that way. If we were, we would never learn to walk. We would never learn to talk. We would never learn to eat. If that kind of fear was intrinsic in human beings, we would not have evolved at all.
Right.
But what I do feel that happens is once that fear is adopted, then our evolution is suspended. It doesn't stop, but it's suspended. And the beautiful thing about it is it can be abandoned at any moment. I don't care if you lived your entire life fearful. The moment you decide to think differently, you can begin to evolve. It's not as if, I spent the last 70 years of my life afraid. I wasted my life. No. Who knows how much time you have in front of you? And that feeling of feeling alive, it's a present feeling. It's not the kind of thing that, yes, when you're feeling it, you want it to last forever, but it feels so good, and as long as you remain in the moment, it doesn't matter how long it lasts.
That's right.
So if you spent 70 years as a fearful person, and then spent 5 minutes as a person without it, you still had a filled life. If you leave within that moment, you left in a state of complete bliss. So what difference does it make? What difference does it make? However long you've spent living in that shell, the moment you choose to abandon it is the moment you become alive.
The moment.
And however much time you have from that moment moving forward is insignificant.
Okay, Paul.
It's killing it.
How
can they follow you? The YouTube followers.
You know what? I don't really have too much set up, man. I'm on Instagram under Emeka Onugha. I don't post a whole lot, man. And to be honest, come to Suya. When Suya opens up, I should be here for a while.
And what's the address here?
This is 41 Halsey Street on the corner of 41 and Bleecker. You know you're there when you see the big food truck with the big Suya sign and the crazy colors.
Nice.
So please come in and let's learn something from each other.
Yeah, it's powerful. I've been in the environment. We hear here the colors, the chairs, and I saw what the truck looks like. It's hot. It's a hot idea. And you have a long track record.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate this, bro.
We're gonna have